Jai Shree Krishna, Namaste, Suprabhatam. Lakshmi Natha Samarambam, Natha Yamuna Madhyamam, Asmadhacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam, Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmad Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmad Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. On this auspicious day, it is a great blessing for us to start Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Randomly, we chose the day because till Pongal people will be busy, and we decided to start it the week after Pongal. And Tuesday is our regular class day. We've been having our classes on Tuesday for around 5 years now. So we decided that Tuesday following Pongal, we will start our Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Prior to this, the big project that we had taken up was the entire Sri Venkatesha Suprabhatam. And it is a great blessing that it happens to be Shravana Nakshatram on the day that we are starting the Bhagavata Puranam. Just think about it. Bhagavan Sri Venkatesha's Nakshatra Shravana Nakshatram. And he is bestowed this entire Bhagavata Purana starting on the nakshatra of his. So we are starting this journey on Shravana Nakshatra, which is a very, very auspicious nakshatra, the nakshatra of Bhagavan Sri Venkatesha. So before we go into this journey, we have now worshipped our acharyas, Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. To the acharyas, acharya, and to the entire lineage of the acharyas, we've offered our namaskaras. Now, the journey of Bhagavata Purana is mainly because of the efforts of Vedavyasa Maharishi, who was none other than Bhagavan's own Swarupa. So we will offer some prayers to Vedavyasa Maharishi, to his entire lineage, and to Bhagavan in the Nara Narayana Rupa. So those are some of the slokas that we'll be following now. Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Vyasam vasishtanaptaram shakte pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam vande Shukatatam taponidim Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vashishtaya Namo Namaha Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhehe Pullara Vindhayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. So with this, we've offered our namaskara to that Vedavyasa Maharishi, who is a treasure trove of knowledge, who's igniting the lamp of knowledge in each one of us. Having worshipped Vedavyasa Maharishi, let us now recite the slokas about the greatness of Sri Bhagavata Purana. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratasjatve shvabhignaswarat tene brahma kridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayaha tejo varimridham yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam Satyam param dhimahi. Nigama kalpatarorghalitam phalam shukamukadamritadrava samyutam pibhatha bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaham. Learning Srimad Bhagavata Purana is a great pleasure. This sloka says, even to learn it, even to have the inclination to come and learn it, our Atma should be refined. So this sloka invites us to come and drink this beautiful nectar of Bhagavata Purana. What kind of a nectar it is? It is Nigama Kalpataro. It is a nectar which is got from the fruit of the Veda. The Veda, which is a fulfilling nectar, it can give you anything that you want. The nectar of that is such a pleasure. So it says, keep drinking the nectar over and over again, because this has come from the great Shukabrahma Rishi's mouth. So it is flowing with the immortal sweetness of the nectar from the sage Sukabrahma Rishi's mouth. So keep drinking this immortal nectar over and over again. Pibata Bhagavata Rasam. So this is something which we cannot compare to anything else, because this is fulfilling all the wishes and it is the fruit of all the Vedas. Basically saying that the essence of the nectar is given to us so beautifully by Shukabrahma Rishi. So grab it and keep drinking it over and over again. It is not sufficient if we listen to it once. It should be a continuous journey where we keep listening to it over and over again. It is said that Srimad Bhagavata Purana is given to us only after a lot of efforts by this Jivatma of us. Even in our own life, if we've seen, we have done so much of Nama Sankirtana, repeating the names of Bhagavan over and over again, either in the form of slokas or in our satsangas or as form of bhajans or Vishnu Sahasranama. Some way, somehow, we've got into the mind of repeating Bhagavan Nama many times as a blessing for that. We are now blessed to listen to the Bhagavata Purana. It just does not happen by chance. It happens with so much of effort, because Bhagavata Purana is a treasure for which so many people yearn, but they do not get it. So many don't know the value of it, so they don't come near it. So one reason or the other, people do not get blessed with Bhagavata Purana. It is either because we've done so much of Bhagavata Chintanam, Bhagavat Smaranam, Bhagavat Nama Sankirtanam in this Janma that we are blessed with it. If not, it is because of what we've accumulated in the previous Janma, we are blessed with this Bhagavata Chintana. Otherwise, getting into the learning of Bhagavata Purana is not actually possible. What is the benefit we get by reciting the Bhagavata Purana is basically ध्यायन् कृते यजन्यज्ञैः त्रेतायां द्वापरे अर्चयन् यदाप्नोति तदाप्नोति कलौ संकीर्त्य केशवम्. We have different yugas and people took different measures to achieve whatever they wanted. So Dhyayan Krite, in the Krita Yuga, the first yuga, we call it Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga, people could do dhyana to get whatever they wanted. Yajan Yagnaihi Tretayam. In the Treta Yuga, when Bhagavan Rama lived, people were capable of doing yajnas, yagas to get whatever they wanted to accomplish. Dwapare Archayan. People could go and worship by constructing temples and worshipping the Archavatara Murti. They had so much of time to travel to different locations, construct temples, do a lot of archanas to Bhagavan. In Kali Yuga, we are always hard pressed for time. We want to do something, we are filled with so much of distractions. Most of the things that we do in Kali Yuga become materialistic. So, where are we to sit and contemplate on Bhagavan for hours together, days together, years together, janmas together? Impossible. It was possible in Krita Yuga. It deteriorated a little bit, but still they could do Yajna Yagas in Treta Yuga. Here in Kali Yuga, we are not able to do any of these things. Even to do Yajna Yagas, there are so many requirements, starting from using only well water. Today, we don't even have those facilities, right? So what are we going to do? So this sloka says, whatever was achieved by different efforts in different yugas, we can achieve the same thing in Kali Yuga. How? Just by singing Bhagavan Nama, singing the praises of Bhagavan. Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam. So singing the praises of Keshava, you can be bestowed with the same benefits that people in the different yugas gathered by using different measures. So Bhagavata Purana gives us that. It explains about the greatness of Bhagavan. It explains about the different praises by different devotees of Bhagavan, not just about Bhagavan. It explains about the Bhagavatas. We can get to know about the different devotees. So that is a great blessing of learning the Bhagavata Purana. Now, the very word Purana means Pura api Navam. Pura means ancient, very old. Navam means something which is applicable for us right now, as if it's really new information. It's customized to my environment. It is applicable here and now. The word Puranam means this ancient information is applicable for you right now. What about future? When they open their text at that time, it will be applicable at that time. Pura api navam. Whenever we look at it, it gives us very different perspectives. It helps us to apply the learnings for that point of time. In fact, many of us have this experience with Bhagavad Gita also. So we are able to apply our learnings at different situations. So it is whatever our ancestors have given is so customized for each one of us that we can apply those learnings at any given point of time. In fact, Bhagavan Krishna says, you know what is important? This sloka is from Bhagavata Purana itself. We'll be learning it in detail at a later time. But to understand the significance of this Purana, Bhagavan Krishna tells sage Narada Maharishi, Naham vasami vaikunte yoginam hridayena cha. Do you think I always reside in Sri Vaikunta? May not be so. People say that I reside in the hearts of the yogis all the time. That may not be true as well. You know what really is the place where I reside all the time? Madbhakta yatra ghayanti tatra tishtami narata. I am there in the place where Madbhakta yatra gayanti, the place where my devotees sing about me. I come there. I always reside there. So whenever we sing about Bhagavan, Bhagavan is there. So in Bhagavata Purana, Bhagavan is there. So whenever we recite his names, he is very happily residing among us. He is there with us. And that is another greatness of residing Bhagavata Purana. Now, there is a question that appears. We do not know about Bhagavan. How do we fall in love with him? We love ice creams because we've tasted the ice cream. So we know that this is the way ice cream tastes. We start enjoying the ice cream. When a child is born, the child does not know any taste. So the first time a little bit of sugar is given to the child. Then it reacts nicely. So we know that the child has a sweet tongue. As the child grows, a little bit of different varieties of sweets are fed to the child. And then the child starts knowing and associating itself, saying that this is something that I like, this is something that I don't relish. So it develops that feeling. But now, we do not know about Bhagavan. We do not know about the devotees of Bhagavan. In fact, many people, think, how do I believe all this? I have not seen there. I have not done all this. So how do I understand, believe, trust, and develop bhakti towards Bhagavan? This is a standard question which people across different age groups ask. Why should I believe in all this? How will I fall in love with Bhagavan? How do I create this devotion to Bhagavan? Because I have not seen him, right? So let us park this question. There was a child who came and met me. The child wanted to go to different tuition centers. Nowadays, all that happens, right? People want to start preparing for IIT from 6th standard. So this child was in some 8th or 9th standard. So I asked her, what do you want to do? So she told me that my ambition is to go and join IIT. Come what may, I want to join there. So I've been really working hard, have been studying for it. So her mother actually had a similar question. So her mother had asked me, like, tell me how I develop devotion to Bhagavan. Because I've never seen Bhagavan. How do I develop devotion to Bhagavan? Right. So now this child wanted to join IIT. So I was speaking to the mother and child together. So I asked the child, from when did you get this interest? From when did you actually decide that you wanted to go to IIT come what may? Why are you working so hard for it? So the child said, like, one of my neighbors had joined the place. So once that person joined there, everybody were appreciating him. So that is when she got interested. And she started joining the IIT tuition centers, and she's been going and she's been preparing. And she gets up early in the morning to do her studies. So she's way ahead of so many people who joined at a later age. She herself is a ninth standard, okay? But then she thinks that so many others are starting preparing now only, and she's way ahead of it. So I asked her, do you know any of the lecturers in IIT? Do you know how they teach? She said, no. Have you been to the IIT campus to get a feel of how it is? She said, no. I asked her, what else? Do you have any personal touch with the life in IIT? Do you know how the hostel food will be? You got to go stay there, live without your parents for days together. Have you imagined all this? She said, all that is different. I really want to go to IIT because whoever joined there say that, that is the life ambition and people are preparing for that. I see my peers preparing for that. People who join there should be brainy. I've heard about it. So I want to do that. So she was very clear in what she wanted. Now I looked at her mother and I told her, this is exactly the answer to the question you asked me. Because this child has not gone to IIT. She does not know how IIT is. She's not even seen the professor who is going to teach her. She does not know the ambience. She does not really know the way the lectures are going to be. Then nothing. But then her peers spoke greatly about it. She's seen that whoever joined there, reached a respectable position after that. So, based on whatever she saw and she heard, she's developed such a big conviction that come what may, irrespective of the hard work that I do, I want to go and join IIT. Now, just apply this to Bhakti. The mother's question will be answered. I told the mother, the peers, all the other Bhagavatas speak so highly about the experiences that they have once they sing Nama Sankirtana, once they connect themselves to Bhagavan. People who have achieved there are appreciated by all our ancestors. So we have personally not experienced it, but everybody around speak about it. Today, what happens is the peer who are there around us do not speak about bhakti. So, if we want to understand about bhakti, we have to go to a place where they speak about bhakti. Like how the child had a neighbor and she was inspired by that neighbor. And then she joined the class where the IIT tuition was going on, right? So, we have to go into the Bhagavata Purana where Narada Maharishi speaks about Bhagavan, Prahlada speaks about Bhagavan, Dhruva speaks about Bhagavan, Bhishma Pitama speaks about Bhagavan, Kunti Devi speaks about Bhagavan. We can learn a lot about Bhagavan from there and start enjoying the Bhagavata Rasa. So that is one big advantage that we get from that. And once we are there, we see all the elated souls always being happy, not worried about what happens, anywhere. So we can go into that elated state. So, how to create bhakti is by being in the satsanga, going into the Bhagavata Purana, understanding what all the other Bhagavatas are mentioning about Bhagavan. The more and more we know about Bhagavan, the more we'll fall in love with Bhagavan. And what is Bhakti? Bhakti is falling in love with Bhagavan, nothing else. We give different definitions for it. End of the day, falling in love with Bhagavan is Bhakti. That is the reason we are given that emotion in our regular life. Why do we have this emotion called love? The bondage, the relationship, all this is so that this is a rehearsal. We apply it after learning from where we apply it for our most important thing, which is falling in love with Bhagavan. That emotion, that is the eternal thing, that is the permanent thing, right? So, with this knowledge, let us learn one or two slokas before we go on to the Bhagavata Mahatmyam. So, this screen, we can see that we'll be learning a lot of stories from Bhagavata Purana. We will learn life lessons, selected stories, because Bhagavata Purana has around 18,000 slokas. I don't think we'll have time with 1 week. One day we are doing the class, that too for 1.5 hours. So we'll take some selected slokas which we can apply to our life. And that is going to help us in the inner growth. And as I said, Bhagavata Purana is not something which we can listen and leave it at that. We have to constantly keep ruminating on that. It's like how the cow goes and grazes. After that, it will sit and keep chewing on the grass that it has grazed. So like that, we have to learn the Bhagavata Purana, listen to it. After that, sit and contemplate. What did we learn? How does it apply to my life? And start applying. After a few weeks, revisit it, and you'll be surprised that you will get newer learnings. After a few months, revisit it, your learnings will be different because it is Puranam. Pura Apinavam. Every time you look at it, newer ideas, newer implementation thoughts, newer perspectives will keep coming to us. So we can live the Bhagavatam. So with that, let's learn one important sloka here. We will worship Krishna in this sloka. Who is the Krishna we worship? Krishnam Narayanam Vande. You can repeat with me. Krishnam Narayanam Vande. Krishnam Vande Vrajapriyam. Krishnam Vande Vrajapriyam. Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande. Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande. Krishnam Vande Prithasutam. Krishnam Vande Prithasutam. There are 4 different Krishnas mentioned in this one sloka. Krishnam Narayanam Vande. We offer our salutations to that Krishna who is Bhagavan Narayana. Bhagavan Narayana is Krishna. So that is mentioned in the very first part of the sloka. Krishnam Vande Vrajapriyam. Vrajapriyam means Bhagavan who was cherished in the Vrajabhumi. Vrajabhumi is our Gokula, Brindavana, where Bhagavan took his avatara, he did all his leela, he was loved by everybody in the Vrajabhumi, right? So that Vrajapriya, that Bhagavan, to that Krishna, we offer our salutations. But what about the third Krishna? Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande. We've spoken about Vedavyasa Maharishi. Vedavyasa Maharishi, his original name was Krishna Dvaipayana because he was born in an island. Island is called as Dvipa. Because the Maharishi was born in a Dvipa, in an island, and he had a dark complexion, Krishna Varna. Krishna means dark. Therefore, he was called as Krishna Dvaipayana. Vyasa was a given name. It was a title which was given to him. So, Vedavyasa Maharishi is Krishna Dvaipayana. Why did he get the name Vyasa? Because Vyasanam Karoti iti Vyasaha. He is the great sage who compiled the Vedas for us. I'll speak about that in a few minutes. So, his original name was Krishna Dvaipayana. we offer our salutations to him. Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande. What about the last Krishna? Very interesting. Krishnam Vande Prithasutam. Pritha is the name of Kunti Devi. Her maiden name was Pritha. That is why Arjuna had a name called Partha. Partha means Pritha's son. Here, Prithasutam, son of Pritha. So who is that? Arjuna. Arjuna also had a name Krishna. He also had a dark complexion. So Krishnam Vande Prithasutam. So we worship the great Bhagavata. He received the entire Bhagavad Gita directly from Bhagavan Krishna, right? What kind of a devotee should he be? So he was the Nara in the Nara Narayana. So the Nara Narayana became Krishna and Arjuna. So here we offer our namaskaras to that great Bhagavata who is Arjuna. So there are 4 Krishnas here. Bhagavan, Srimad Narayana, Bhagavan who took his Krishna avatara and who was loved by everyone in the Vrajabhumi. The Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa Maharshi who gave us the entire Mahabharatam, the Puranas, who compiled the Vedas. And then the great Bhagavata, the chosen person of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, who is Arjuna. So 4 different Krishnas are used in one sloka. I will repeat it again. Krishnam Narayanam Vande, Krishnam Vande Vrajapriyam, Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande, Krishnam Vande Prithasutam. Now I said, Arjuna is a great Bhagavata. So whenever we recite Bhagavata Purana, when we want to learn Bhagavata Purana, it has been a practice of many Pauranikas to recite this sloka, which gives us the smarana of great Bhagavatas. Smarana means remembrance of Bhagavatas. Many names of Bhagavatas are there in this sloka. Prahlada Narada Parashara Pundarika Vyasambharisha Shuka Shaunaka Bhishmadalbhyan Rukmangadajuna Vashishta Vibhishanadin Punyaniman Parama Bhagavatan Smarami. So who are the Bhagavatas mentioned here? Prahlada, Narada, Prahlada, we know the little child Prahlada, Narada, Devarishi, Parashara, Puntarika, Vyasambharisha, Vyasa, Ambarisha, Shukha, Shaunaka, these are great sages, Bhishma, Rukmangada, Arjuna, Vashishta, Vibhishana. So these are great Bhagavatas. Parama Bhagavatan, Punyaniman, it's a great punya to remember these Bhagavatas. So we remember them, we offer our salutations to them before we go into the Bhagavata Purana. What is Bhagavata Purana? It is about the stories, the great devotion exhibited by Bhagavatas, right? So we will remember all these great Bhagavatas before we go into this journey of learning the Bhagavata Purana. So before we get into the Bhagavata Purana, we have to know why we are learning this Purana, right? What is in it? I mean, people say Bhagavatam. I have no clue of what Bhagavatam is. So first tell me what is Bhagavata Purana and then go into it. So in order to understand what is Bhagavata Purana, there are a few things which we have to know as a background information. For us, when we want to learn the different ways of gaining knowledge, there are 3 sources which are usually mentioned. When we want to know something, there is a pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means anything which can be grabbed by us directly, which means I can see something. I know it is there. Is it raining? Let me go check. Yeah, it is raining. So this is called pratyaksha. I see that it is raining. I know that it is raining, right? Is it just the eyes? Not necessarily. Okay. I want to go and smell something, lovely fragrance. Today's food has wonderful aroma. I'm not seeing the food, but the aroma is reaching me even before I go and see the food, right? Hey, it smells so good. I have to go see the food. I have to go see the menu. So the anubhava that we get with any of our indriyas. Now the air touches us. We say the weather is so pleasant. How do we know that? Am I seeing it? No, I am feeling it. So with all our indriyas, which is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, the skin, the five indriyas, anything which can be verified directly is called pratyaksha. Now, sometimes what happens is this alone is not a source of knowledge. We infer a lot of things. Earlier, I saw the rain and I know that the floor is wet because it rained. I have that experience. I have that anubhava. Now I'm stepping out. I'm seeing all the roads are wet. The car is drenched. I'm experienced with this kind of scenario because of my pratyaksha anubhava. So now I infer that because when it rained earlier, the floors became wet and the car was wet. I am now inferring that it should have rained, right? Because I know rain causes this impact. Now I'm seeing the impact. I infer what should have happened. I'm saying it should have rained. This is called as anumana or inference. Okay. But many times what happens is we need to have seen something pratyaksha earlier for us to have an inference. Not all things in life can be seen by pratyaksha, right? Because we have limitations as human beings. Our sound has a range. Below this particular sound or above this particular sound, our ears don't have the capacity to hear. If somebody calls me out, say in 100 or 200 meters distance, I can hear them. If a person calls me from the next street, I can't hear. My ear has this restriction. So what about the revolving earth? Does it create a sound or not? I don't know. I'm not aware. Does the sun create the sound when it moves? We don't know. So all these are beyond our scope for understanding. So pratyaksha anubhava is not there. Therefore, anumana will not be there. So how do I understand this? Shabda. The astronomers have done a lot of research using great gadgets, everything. They have given us certain information, we accept it. Scientists have given some information, we accept it. Because our pratyaksha anubhava is not capable of reaching those things. We accept what we call a shabda. So shabda can be the information given by teachers. It can be information given by doctors. We don't know what all is inside our body, right? But then the doctor says, see, your B12 needs to be enhanced, so have this liquid. Vitamin B12 is low, so have this. For your liver protection, use this. So many things they say. Do I know whether my liver is weak or not, whether my B12 is okay or not? We have no idea. So we allow the doctors, the teachers, the scientists, all of them to do a lot of research and then give us the information. We accept those informations as pramana because they know it, we accept it. This is called shabda. In our traditional system, shabda refers to the knowledge of Vedas. With jnane, we say. Any knowledge in universe is called Veda. It is with. So whatever cannot be realized with our indriyas, with our five senses, and with inferences, we rely on the Shabda. Shabda is the Veda Pramana to give us the sufficient knowledge. The Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda, I have given you some examples. I'll just touch on that in a minute. So there are two different kinds of knowledge in our traditional system, Paravidya and Aparavidya. Dve vidye veditavye iti hasma yad brahmavido vadanti parachaiva aparacha. This is a statement from Mundakopanishad, which says the true knowledge that great people mention about are the Paravidya and Aparavidya. Whatever we learn today, in the normal sense, going to school, learning things, we learn science, we learn mathematics, we learn economics, commerce, law, so many things. All these are Aparavidya. Paravidya means the knowledge which is going to help us in our moksha, in our spiritual journey, to get rid of the materialistic things, to get rid of this repeated cycle of births and deaths. That knowledge is Paravidya. So para, anything which is not para is Aparavidya. Okay, so there are two kinds of knowledge. Today, mostly we focus on Apara. The Paravidya, in some discussions like this, we are attempting to get there. But it is huge, and people used to dedicate their life, multiple janmas, to learn the Aparavidya. So here, we will consider both our traditional example and modern example to learn the three different sources, the means for knowledge. So, Pratyaksha, directly through our sense organs, which is the perception. So, you're seeing a fire. Today, we can understand it as seeing a traffic light. We know what we should do, right? We get the message. Now, the Anumana, the inference of it will basically be that when there is a fire, there is a smoke. People earlier, even in their kitchens, they used to have fire and the smoke used to come because wood was burnt. And people knew that because there is fire, there is smoke. But today in our kitchens, we do not use any of the wood or anything. In fact, with induction stoves, we don't even see fire. So instead of that example, for us to connect to it, I have a modern example where I spoke about the rains and the wet roads, right? So this means these are inferences. Shabda, there are so many things which we do not understand, right? For which we rely on the teachers, doctors, the reliable news, scientists. All these are the sources of knowledge from trustworthy sources. Like that, in our Vedas, we have statements like Tat Tvam Asi, Aham Brahmasmi. So for all this, how do we understand it? We go to the Vedas, which is the Shabda Prama. So why do we resort to the Vedas? Because Vedas has certain unique attributes which is not there for anything else. Vedas are Anati, they are Apaurusheya, and they are Ananta. Anati means there is no beginning for Vedas. It was not created by anyone. Now, something which does not have a beginning means it does not have an ending. So, Anati, it does not have a start at all. Why did Bhagavan not write the Vedas? No. Our Shastras say Vedas are the breath of Bhagavan. So, when did the breathing start? It started with Bhagavan. When was Bhagavan born? He's always there. So, Bhagavan's breathing is Vedas, means Vedas are always there. Therefore, it is Anati. Apaurusheyam. It was not authored. Purushena na nirmitam. It was not written by any humans. Because the moment somebody writes it, it is subject to being applicable only to that time frame. The person's individual bias can creep in. Nothing like that. It is apaurusheyam. It is not authored by anybody. Because it is not having a start, because it is anati, it is ananta. It is always there. Okay. There is no end date for Vedas. It is always there. So it has no time constraint. It has no individual constraint. It has no location constraint. It is universal. Therefore, Vedas are considered as our pramana, as our authoritative text. So it used to be one group, Veda. Vedas were like so many knowledge sources were there, but then the Vedas were a kanda. It was not broken at all. It was one huge repository of knowledge. This was possible during the earlier yugas, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga. People could still, go learn the Vedas, apply it. But then, as the time went on, it was a big challenge. So, Vedavyasa Maharishi, Krishna Dvaipayana sage, compiled the Vedas for us. He grouped the Vedas into 4 categories: Rig, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva. Because he grouped it like this, Vyasanam Karoti, he compiled it for us. Therefore, he got the title as Vyasa. Today, he is known as Vyasa Bhagavan because this is such a great task which is humanly impossible. So, he's called as the Avesha Avatara of Bhagavan himself. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya. Bhagavan gave him special powers to do this great work. Therefore, he is Vishnu Rupa. Bhagavan himself came in the form of Vyasa in order to compile and give this to us. So this happened only in the Dwapara Yuga, so that people in Kali Yuga, they can at least go into a little bit of one of the Vedas, right? Now, each of this Veda in turn has different things inside it. Samhita, Brahmanam, Aranyakam, and Upanishad. Samhita is what children in the Gurukula learn, the rote memory. They by heart the Vedas because in Vedas, the vibration of the sound is very important. There is a video which is called as Sanskrit effect. You can go Google it, see it in YouTube also. In that video, it says people who recite Vedas, their brain size itself, physically, the size itself actually increases, it seems. So it has a lot of benefits, which is mentioned. It's a news item. You can go and Google for it. So Samhita is where people used to by heart it because the tone of the Vedas, the pitch of the Vedas, the duration, everything is very, very important, which nobody can learn by themselves. So the Guru Parampara oral tradition was what we used to follow. The Samhita portion was for that. Now, after learning all this, when they got married and got into the Grihastha Ashrama, they implemented the learnings and they were eligible to do the Agni Karya. So for which they had to construct the altar, they had to do a lot of things based on geometrical patterns, measurements, everything, the rules on what to use, how much to use, everything was there. Those explanations on how to go about with this is given in the Brahmanam. After doing this during their entire Grihastha Ashrama time, people go into this contemplative mood where they think, I have done so many things. All these have worked so well for me. I do a Putra Kameshti Yagam, I'm blessed with a child. I do a Yaga to reduce the pollution and that works brilliantly. In fact, people who did Agnihotra during the Bhopal tragedy, the gas tragedy, their houses were protected. The poisonous air did not go into those places. So many people took shelter in their houses where the Agnihotra was done. These came in many news papers. So people could see all the blessings pratyaksha in front of their eyes after implementing the Brahmanam. So they start thinking, so whatever I could verify are verified. The Vedas speak about so many things which I can't verify. So let me contemplate on all that. So they go into this contemplative mood to think about the jnana, the greater things that are mentioned there, which is beyond what we can see pratyaksha. So they go into a secluded lifestyle in Aranyakam. Aranya means forest. They go to a forest, they live alone, they think about all the in-depth, profound learnings that they can get from learning the Vedas. And then they learn the Upanishads, which is the Jnana Bhaga, where they understand about the Paramatma, the Jivatma, the relationship between that, the purpose of life, everything, how to get rid of the cycles of births and deaths. Different Upanishads mention a lot of learnings for us. So those are given in the Vedanta or the Upanishads. So the Upanishads actually are plenty. The primary Upanishads are 10 in number, for which many acharyas have given detailed commentaries. The 10 primary Upanishads I have mentioned here, each of it is attached to a particular Veda. Ishakkena kata prashna munda mandukya tittirihi chandogya aitareyam cha brihadaranyakam tatha. Ishakkena kata prashna Munda Mandukya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Chandrakya Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. These are the 10 primary Upanishads. So here, as you can see, Kena Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad are attached to the Samaveda, while Aitareya Upanishad is attached to Rig Veda. Like that, the different Upanishads are part of the different Vedas. And Vedavyasa Maharishi helped us compile the Vedas into these 4 parts. Now, the knowledge of Vedas is very difficult for us to understand. So, what did the same Vedavyasa Maharishi do? He gave us what we call as the itihasas. What is itihasa? Itihasa means thus it happened. What happened? It is documenting the life of great individual at that point of time. Now, Ramayana, Bhagavan Sri Rama took the avatara, right? So, the Itihasa Ramayana writes about Bhagavan Sri Rama's avatara. The rule for Itihasam is it should be documented by a Samakalina. Samakalina means the person who is documenting it should live at the same time of the person about whom it is documented. Now, Valmiki Maharishi was a Samakalina of Bhagavan Sri Rama. Therefore, he documented Valmiki Ramayana. The Ramayana is called as Valmiki Ramayana. So, which is the Itihasa? Valmiki Ramayana is Itihasa. After that, many great devotees have written Ramayana. We have Kamba Ramayana, we have Tyagaraja Ramayana. All these are Ramayanas which have the roots in Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana is the Itihasa because he was a Samakalina. He lived at the same time of Bhagavan Sri Rama and he documented whatever happened at that point of time. Therefore, it is Itihasa. Similarly, Mahabharata. Vedavyasa Maharishi was a Samakalina. When Mahabharata happened, Vedavyasa Maharishi was also there. Therefore, he documented things then and there, and that is why Mahabharata is a Itihasa. Vyasa Rachita Mahabharata is a Itihasa. So, we should be very careful. Now, Itihasa, Ramayana and Mahabharata, 2 Itihasas are there. We also have Puranas. Now, Purana, we already learnt. Pura api navam Puranam. These are called as Smritis. Smritis means things which are remembered. Shruti, I said, heard and transferred, right? Smriti is something which we remember. So, these are recollections. Our great rishis recollect a lot of things and they transfer it to us. Why is this given? Now, what is seen on the right side? Itihasa Purana Abhyam Vedam Samupabrahmayet. With the help of Itihasas and Puranas, we can understand the Vedas. Because whenever something is taught, we ask for examples. Now, real life examples are given to us in our Itihasas. See, this is how Bhagavan Sri Rama lived. This is how the Pancha Pandavas, starting from Yudhishthira, everybody lived. This is the way you should not live, giving the examples of Duryodhana, Ravana and others. All these are given to us with the Itihasas. But then we think, but Itihasas, they could be applied to great people like Rama or Krishna or the great Bhagavatas. What about me? So Puranas are given to us. Puranas speak about so many different perspectives. So when we learn Puranas, we learn about so many Bhagavatas, people who are like us, people who have done so many great mistakes, and then they've recovered in life. People Initially in their life, they had no clue. Later on in their life, they changed. So many different stories we learn. So examples are given in Puranas. And Puranas also speak about things from different dimensions or perspectives. For example, when a little child is there and the mother is feeding food to the child. So what does the mother say? Look at the moon, and then she tries to feed. Now the child does not know what is a moon. The child is searching in the wrong place. And then the mother says, look, there are two branches of the tree. Look in between the two branches. What you see, that is the moon. And then the child sees the moon and starts eating, right? When we grow up, if somebody tells us what you see in between the two branches is the moon, will we accept it? No, our perspective changes, right? So the Puranas come from different flavors, different dimensions. Depending on the recipient, the moon in between the tree will also be mentioned in the Purana. The actual position of the moon, the distance between the earth and the moon, how does the moon function, all that, how does the eclipse function, everything will also be mentioned in the Puranas. Pura Apinavam. Every time it keeps giving us different perspectives. That is why we use these two to understand the Vedas. Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupa Brahmayet. With the help of Itihasas and Puranas, we understand the Vedas. There are Smritis outside of this, the Dharma Shastra, everything. We are not going into that. This is just for you all to get a feel of how you place the Puranas. Now, there are 18 Mahapuranas. There is a beautiful sloka, which is like a mnemonic to the 18 Puranas. Madvayam bhadvayam chaiva bratrayam vachatuštayam anapalinga puskani puranani prachakshate. So what does this Purana say? It says Madvayam. There are two Puranas which starts with Ma, which is Matsya Purana and Markandeya Purana. Dvayam. There are two Puranas which starts with Ba, which is Bhavishyat Purana and Bhagavata Purana. Bratrayam. So Brahma Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana starts with Bra. Vachatushtayam. Vamana Purana, Varaha Purana, Vishnu Purana, Vayu Purana are the four Puranas which starts with Va. Agni Purana starts with A. Padma Purana starts with Pa. Linga Purana is the next one. Ku is the starting of Kurma Purana and Ska is for Skanda Purana. So this sloka says that these are the 18 which are declared as the Mahapuranas. Madvayam bhadvayam chaiva bratrayam vachatuštayam anapalinga puskani puranani prachakshate. So when we by heart this sloka, we can know all the 18 Mahapuranas just by using the mnemonics. We can expand on it. In fact, similar was the earlier sloka which we spoke about the Upanishad, right? Isha kena kata prashna munda mandukya tittirihi Chandokyo Aitareyam cha Brihadaranyakam tata. So this is similar. This is for the 10 major Upanishads. So to give you a big picture, we have different sources of knowledge which we call as Vidyasthanas, where the four Vedas are there. To understand this, we need what we call as the Vedangas. Vedangas can be like, the Vyakarana, which is the grammar, the Chanda Shastra, which is the meters, the Jyotish Shastra, which tells us the time to do the yajnas. There are such different Vedangas. To understand those, to do logical arguments, to give us examples, to tell us what is the Dharma for this, we have the Upangas. So, the usual explanation is if we can imagine the Veda to be a human in a human form, personification, the Veda Purusha, the Vedangas are his limbs and the Upangas are the fingers or toes. That's how we understand it. The Upavedas are what we implement. Now, based on the Vedas, the implementation for our health becomes Ayurveda. The implementation for warfare, which is derived from the Vedas, that is called as Dhanurveda, the knowledge of the warfare. Gandharva Veda is where we get the different art forms, art, music, drama, dance, everything. Arthashastra is politics, economics, etc. So all these are the applications of the 14 Vidyasthanas. Together, we call it as 18 Vidyasthanas, or people call it as 14 Vidyasthanas and 4 Dharmasthanas. We are not going into detail of all this. This is just to give you a big picture. So where are we? We are here. We are now learning the Puranas. So to understand the Puranas, there are 18 Puranas we understood. So in that, we are in the Bhagavata Purana. Badvayam is there, right? So we are in the Bhagavata Purana. Now, what is the greatness of Bhagavata Purana? The interesting thing is, 18 Puranas are classified as Satvika Purana, Rajasika Purana, and Tamasika Purana. Okay. Now, there are 6 Satvika Puranas. Bhagavata Purana is considered as a Satvik Purana. Padma Purana is another Purana which is also a Satvik Purana. The interesting part is that Padma Purana gives us 6 chapters speaking about the greatness of Bhagavata Purana. So, it is a practice of our acharyas, our ancestors, to learn the greatness of the Bhagavata Purana before embarking on the journey of the actual Purana itself. Because unless we know the value of what we have, how will we relish it? So, the Padma Purana gives us the Bhagavata Mahatmyam in 6 chapters. So, we will learn selected slokas from the Padma Purana before we go on to understanding the actual Bhagavata Purana. In Padma Purana, there are a group of sages. These sages are great in Jnana and Vairagya. There is a Pauranika by name Suta Pauranika. Pauranika means the one who narrates the stories from Puranas. Now, these great sages who have so much of knowledge and Vairagya approach with all humility the Suta Pauranika and they request him to share his knowledge with them. And the way the request is so beautiful. Let's look at these slokas. This is from the Padma Purana. Shreyasam yad bhavet shreyaha pavananam cha pavanam Krishna praptikaram shashvat sadhanam tatvadhaduna Chintamanir sukham Suradruk Swarga Sampadam Prayachati Guru Preetho Vaikuntam Yogi Durlabham. How beautiful. They are asking Shreyasam Yad Bhavet Shreyaha Pavananam Cha Pavanam. You know, the one which can give the ultimate Shreyas, which can purify the purity, Pavananam, which is the purest of anything that is pure. Please give us that. And what you give us should be Krishna Praptikaram. It must lead us to the entire Krishna Prapti himself. We want Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So, at this point, please share with us that knowledge which will give us Bhagavan Krishna, which will bestow on us the purest of everything that is pure, the ultimate Shreyas of everything that is Shreyaskaram. And then they are elaborating, saying that Chintamanir Lokasukam. There is a money, there is a bead which is called Chintamani. This Chintamani can manifest whatever is there in a person's Chinta. When a person thinks, that gets manifested. So, I'm hungry. I'm thinking about a 9-course meal. 9-course meal will get manifested right in front of me. Now, I want a 10-bedroom house to live. The house gets manifested. I want an ultra luxurious car. The car gets manifested. Whatever we think can get manifested as long as we have this Chintamani. Chintamanir lokasukam. But what happens? Any of the sukha, sometimes we lose our control, right? So the person who has the chintamani, imagine, he thinks, the chintamani gives all what I want. Now, what if a lion comes and grabs my head? That will also happen, right? Because whatever is there in the thought is going to be manifested. So the loka sukha is not always sukha. When our thought is not under our control, what will happen? Great calamities can befall us. Suradruk Swarga Sampadam. So for all the suras, the devas, they have something called as a Kalpaka Vriksha. The Kalpaka Vriksha, you sit under the Vriksha, whatever you want, it will get manifested. So the Kalpaka Vriksha will give, it's a wish granting tree. It will give whatever we need. But then, be it Kalpaka Vriksha, be it the Chintamani, that is capable of giving only materialistic things. But what we want, they earlier said, na, Krishna Praptikaram, we want Bhagavan Krishna's Prapti. That can be got only by the Kataksha of a great Guru. So all the great sages here who are blessed with Jnana and Vairagya are now asking Suta Pauranika, saying that Prayachati Guru Prito, with the Preeti of the Guru. When the Guru is happy and blesses us, what will happen? Vaikuntam Yogi Durlabam, the most difficult place to reach, the Sri Vaikunta, that itself will be granted to us, from where there is no return. There is no negatives there at all. So that ultimate Vaikunta can be blessed only if the Guru is happy. So give us that kind of a blessing. Look at the kind of interaction between the sages, right? So they are asking these to the Pauranika. Suta Pauranika is his name. Now, Suta Pauranika responds with these two slokas. Bhaktyoga Vardhanam Yacha Krishna Santosha Hetukam Tadaham Te Bidhasyami Savadhanataya Shrunu. Bhakti Yoga Vardhanam. Bhakti Yoga Vardhanam. The growth of yoga. Bhakti Yoga. You all want that, right? Krishna Santosha Hetukam. You know, what is going to be a reason for Bhagavan Sri Krishna to be happy? Because when we give somebody what they want, they become happy. You give a toy to a child is happy. You give something which an adult desires, they are going to be happy. But to someone who has everything, who has created everything, who is the bestower of everything to all of us, what can we give? How can we please Bhagavan Krishna, who has everything, who grants everything, who is beyond everything? He cannot do anything, right? But Suta Pauranika Maharishi says, I will give you which will become a reason for Bhagavan Krishna to be happy with you. Krishna Santosha Hetukam. Tadaham te bidasyami. I will give you all that. So, savadhanataya shrunu. Listen to this with utmost attention. Okay. So, focus on what I'm giving and listen to that. Etasmata param kinchin manashuddhyaina vidyate. Beyond this, there is absolutely no way to purify the mind, says Suta Pauranika. What is the way to purify the mind? The Bhagavata Purana purifies the mind. The body purity, you go have a shower, you think, you're clean. All of us clean ourselves physically. But how do we clean our mind? The mental cleanliness, mana shuddhaihi. There is no other way. He says, etasmada param kinchin mana shuddhai na vidyate. There's absolutely no other way to purify our mind. Janmantare bhavet punyam tada bhagavatam labet. You are getting Bhagavata Purana because the punya that you've created is there. You've accumulated the punyas. How much of punya did I accumulate? Was the punya accumulated yesterday? I'm getting Bhagavata Purana today? No, 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 more than that. Was it a month's punya? More than that. A year's punya? More than that. Janmantare bhavet punyam. You've accumulated the entire Janma's punya. Only then you are eligible to get Bhagavata Purana. This is the words of Suta Pauranika. And he is telling great Maharishis this. And now Bhagavan is blessing us with Bhagavata Purana. We can understand the greatness and the richness of the treasure that Bhagavan is blessing us with. Janmantare bhavet punyam tada bhagavatam labet. So, this Bhagavata Purana is given to us after the punyas we've accumulated for the entire Janma. Think about it. We go do some shopping, we earn some points. We use our credit card, we earn some points. We keep accumulating points here and there. Over a period of time, we can go and redeem the points, right? So when we redeem the points, they will say, you have X amount of points, so you can get this. No, it's not sufficient. So we go spend a lot more. We accrue a lot of points. Will I be able to get a travel from this location to this location by using these points? No. For that, you need more points. Oh, okay. What about a stay? No. For a stay, you need a lot more points. So we spend a lot of money and then accumulate all the points, finally redeem the points, right? So like that, we do small punyas here and there, accrue the punyas. We do some nama sankirtanams here and there, accumulate the points. We help people accumulate points. We do a lot of service to humanity, to plants, to animals, to everything, accumulate points. How many times? Throughout the birth, we've accumulated the points and we redeem those points. That is the reason we are getting this Bhagavata Purana. Therefore, savadhanataya shrunu. Listen with utmost attention, because except this, there is no other way to purify the mind. This is the statement of Suta Pauranika mentioned in the Padma Purana. So, as I said, there are 6 chapters for us to learn from the Padma Purana, the Bhagavata Mahatmyam. We will be continuing with that. There are a lot of stories along with the Puranas Mahatmyam. So, we will be going through a lot of stories as we progress. These slokas, whatever we've covered today, try to become very comfortable reciting it so that as we progress, we'll be able to learn more and more slokas, right? So, let us do Kayena Vacha. Do the Samarpana back to Bhagavan and conclude this session. Kayena Vacha Manasendriyaiva Buddhyatmana va Prakride Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaayeti Samarpayami Achyutaya Namaha Anantaya Namaha Govindaya Namaha Sarvam Shree Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Shri Krishna.